Hello and welcome. It is 6 o'clock. It is Tuesday night and it is the 6 o'clock club. Hi, hopefully you can see me and hear me. I'm Andy from Twisted Narrative, and below me there, please introduce yourself, sir. Not that you need to. Everybody should know you by now.
Hello, everybody. Christian here from this small box. This is where I live now. He doesn't let me out very often, so
Can't
send food.
never let him out the box. Um, Hello and welcome. We did a pre-record yesterday because of a schedule clash of everything that's going on with Twisted Narratives this week, plus a recap of the weekend. If you want to know about all of that, go check that video out instead. It wasn't live, unfortunately, but hopefully all the information came across okay. So, Tuesday, 6 o'clock. How was your weekend, first and foremost? Let's do some social stuff. Was it okay?
Oh, it was good, thank you. It was very good. Obviously, a game, or two games actually. One of mine. I run D&D on Saturday nights with a group, which is very fun. They finished the major quest and they're now on to the next quest, where an ancient red dragon's going to invade the village that they're in with a load of
Ooh,
orcs. And then Sunday, Shadows of Sharn. So always fun to play in the Eberron game.
yeah.
But around that, going to see the parrots at the local wildlife place. It was a lot of fun. So
I did notice. I don't. I think it was probably, was it on Twitter or Facebook?
Facebook,
Yeah.
Facebook.
There was some photographs of them. It was amazing to
Yes,
sort of see.
yes. Well,
Uh,
those two parrots, they have their Rachel's very fond of them. They're African greys, and she'll always call to them, and they will always come over and see her every single time, and then just stop and stare at her.
Amazing animal magic.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Um,
What's his name? Oh, Johnny Morris? No, I don't know.
yeah, I
Forgot
think
what
it was
his name is.
Johnny Morris that did animal magic. I think so. You've got me questioning myself now. I'm sure someone in
Good,
chat can Google it.
good.
Want to say a big
And hello,
hello,
Jocelyn. Oh,
Jocelyn.
sorry.
Yeah. No, in chat there. Thank you for joining us tonight. A few things. My weekend was busy. 4 games on Saturday. Only one game on Sunday, I think. Yeah, which was the Eberron game. I covered them all yesterday, but something I want to reference again because we were just chatting it off air, and I genuinely are very keen to hear people's opinions on it. Is the actual play that we did? We actually did an actual play live, which was Junkers on Saturday night. This was just a one-shot fill-in because we should have been running Call of Cthulhu, but people couldn't make it because of scheduled classes. I had a blast running it. I think the players really enjoyed it. But I'm interested to hear your opinion of it
Yes,
because I
because I've
suffer.
watched it.
Yeah, you actually watched it, of imposter syndrome, and also,
Yeah.
I think we're putting a lot of stuff out, and I don't know whether it's what people want to see or whether they want to see something different. Everybody's been super kind. We're getting lots of likes and lots of views, um, but so that's a positive thing. But actually having a critique is sometimes really useful to know what direction we should go in as well.
So I obviously I gave you some nice comments off air,
Yep.
so I'm gonna have to say the horrible things now. No,
No.
no. I'll reiterate so people can hear what I said off air. Is in I really enjoyed it. I am not a. I'll say I know that the Shadow Dark system is not for me.
Mhm,
Absolutely not for me. I don't think I would enjoy playing it. Um, but I do enjoy watching people play it.
mhm.
Um, and the first thing I really liked was the sci-fi aesthetic. I love it. And actually, I found I was attracted to that more than anything else. Um, the system, because when you're watching games, certainly for me when I'm watching a game, as long as the system makes sense, I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But the way the players interacted with the world, the characters themselves was all really interesting, and I love this kind of low tech, not low tech, but almost like cassette futurism
Yeah.
in space. I could picture these horrible junkers and the really, as I said, low tech sort of solutions in their spaceships. It was all very alien
Yeah.
in my head, but a bit drabber. And but people reference Red Dwarf, and you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I do kind of think in that Red Dwarf aesthetic as well. And as I said, these giant ships that they're trying to salvage from. I really love the concept and want to know more about the world. I want to know more about the companies
Yeah.
that are operating in this world. I want lore, Andy. I want you to give me buckets of lore on this world,
Oh, wow.
and that's what I like. The downsides, probably just Malcolm's camera kept freezing.
Yeah. Mal
Technical problems.
Malcolm is doing a sort of pre-record tomorrow with us for the Shadow Dark Tales from the Smoke, and he's already mentioned that he's going to try and use his PC rather than his laptop. So,
Oh
uh,
yeah. Oh, never stream on wireless ever,
yeah, yeah.
ever.
But it was fairly apparent. But we're trying to improve the tech all of the
Yeah,
time. As I say, our cast, if you can call them a cast, but the players are volunteers. So we are very much bound by the technologies
yeah.
that
Uh,
we've got. But I mean, that is most definitely a fair comment.
and also stick Ian in a game. I'll watch it. I love
Mhm.
watching Ian's characters or
Yeah,
interact playing in games with Ian's characters. It's always a delight.
yeah,
I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. You know, Kyle's was the captain, wasn't he?
yeah. I
Yeah,
think
the
de
captain.
facto captain. They hadn't
Yeah,
really discussed their
yeah.
characters at length before the stream. I mean,
And
what? Yeah, go on.
no, I was going to say also the names. David Bishop or Dave Bishop.
Yeah,
I'm really hoping that was a mix of Dave Lister and Bishop,
yeah, yeah,
because I know you, I
yeah, yeah,
know how you name some characters, so I fully suspected that that's where that came from.
yeah, yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed it, and I would encourage anyone watching this, if you're watching it live, this stream live or on catch up. So Jocelyn, go watch Junkers if you haven't already. And anyone else, go watch Junkers. And if you like it, please drop a like on it, and please leave comments, because it does help promote these things for other people, because I really enjoy this and I'd like Andy
Yeah.
to make more. So I wish for all of you to go and tell Andy to make more of this content, please.
I mean, it is very much getting to a situation at the moment where we have to look at the not just the views but the watch hours and the analytics, so we can choose sort of which ones are more popular. Um, because we've only got a finite amount of time to produce these things, and I love all of them. There's no point trying to produce or run a game that you don't like. But it's very much a case of um, I don't want to use the Netflix example of, because they just cancel shows just seeming
Yeah,
like
two and done.
yeah, this is really popular. Why have they cancelled it?
You never know what their metrics are like. They will never publish their
Yeah,
figures.
yeah, yeah. But we're certainly not a Netflix. We want to carry on making it, but I only have so much time to do stuff. So having genuinely critique and feedback and everything else is really, really sort of useful. Um, but I had fun. I'll put the link down in the comment section of this again, so you can sort of check it out. I would very much like to do some more, but um, we need to see whether there is a demand for it. So that was the weekend just gone. Obviously, we did a pre-record yesterday with what's going on with Twisted Narrative. I didn't really mention the announcement that I made today about the Dragonlance campaign that I'm hoping to start soon. We'll come on to that in a minute, but first,
Yes, please
before
do.
we do that, let's talk about tonight's game. Tonight is Tuesday,
Vampire.
and it is Vampire.
I'm so excited for this. I am so excited for
Just pull
this.
this up, Vampire. We have got Andrew, Elsa, Rachel, and Christian in this game.
Yo.
Vampire the Masquerade, Modern Knights. Well, what bit are you looking forward to uncovering tonight?
I now it's not selfish. It's probably altruistic, because it's Elsa's character Dip. I want to know what's going, because we left that on kind of
Yeah, yeah.
it's one of the best soap operas I've ever watched. It's like Sons of Anarchy, except I like it.
Oh, you can't. I love Sons of
I
Anarchy.
didn't. I don't get on with TV series.
Yeah,
That's just me. And I wish I did. I
yeah,
really wish I did, because there's a load of great content out there, and I watch one episode and go, I'll watch the rest of that, and I never
yeah.
do.
But
But no, it's this biker situation where Dip's character has this bar, or had a bar before she entered Torpor, and now Dip is going back to that bar and meeting the people again. And there's the old guy that used to be in a gang that's now seen Dip as never having changed since the 80s. And the guy's granddaughter and this other gang invading and all that stuff. It's like, oh, this is all really like on a knife edge. I like this. I don't, and it sometimes goes, Francois, what are you doing? Oh, no, go back to Dip, please. I'm gonna piss my go up a wall.
that I mean, it is one of the very wonderful things about Vampire the Masquerade, in the fact that it's mainly about the story, and because the coterie, even if you're a tight coterie of very like-minded individuals, the idea of these kindred, they all have their own stories to tell, um, and it very much is a storytelling game. You know, I think the GM is actually called the storyteller in
Yes, it
it.
is. Yeah.
Um, and there are sort of rules that you don't even need to roll dice if you don't want to in it, and because it's a storytelling game. Like most games, you can do your own things, um, but I think because of that, it is one of it's skewed towards role playing as opposed to thinking about battling or fighting or
Yeah.
whatever.
I like that. I like that. I don't mind a good combat every now and again.
Yeah,
And in the Shan game, I really enjoy good combat every now and again. But I'm always into role playing more for the role playing than the combat, and the interactions between characters and world.
yeah,
The storyteller unveiling this place. I'm a lore hound. I love lore. As I was saying about your world, I love it. I want to know more. I
mm,
want to uncover and unpick all these little bits and write them down, and create a wiki and find out. But yeah, this is it's all so interesting to me. So I like that side.
yeah,
But I said I do enjoy a good combat from time to time. But when might have my luck with dice, or certainly with real dice, I as I say, we played Blades in the Dark a couple of months back. Real dice, terrible dice.
yeah,
Use the online dice roller, everything was fine.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah. Oh, hello, Jack.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jack.
Hiya, Jack. Thanks for jumping in. I know Jack is interested in hearing all about Dragonlance as well.
Oh
Um,
yes, you have to tell us.
he sent me a message. Yeah, it's the Dice app, which I think is
Dice.
dddice.com.
Yep. Yep.
It has been absolutely amazing. Um, it means that we can roll dice on our live streams. It's very clever, and they've collaborated with the guys from Shiver to create bespoke dice for them, which you saw in our actual play for Shiver. So they seem to be very, very sort of open to all of these ideas.
Yeah. And they have streamer mode as well, where you get given a URL. It's got like a white background, and whenever
Mhm,
someone rolls dice, you can overlay it over your stream. So that's what Andy's been doing.
mm,
And it makes, I certainly found, from what again, a viewer point of view on the Shadow Dark one on Junkers, I
yeah,
found that much more immersive, being able to see what dice are
dice was
rolled.
bold. Yeah,
Yeah, I find it's difficult watching the DM's view of Fantasy Grounds, because you get the view of everything,
yeah,
but it's impossible to get a view from a player's point of view unless you somehow stream every single player's view,
yeah,
and then I can switch between it like some kind of weird red button.
yeah. No, I mean it is very very difficult. I mean certainly for tomorrow night's pre-record of Tales from the Smoke Shadow Dark, we're going to go back to theatre of the mind, and we're not going to be streaming Fantasy Grounds. Be using the D&D dice
Mm,
app, and it'll be more akin to Junkers uh,
yes.
as a layout than it is to the previous setting. Hopefully, people will like that. We got I think it's our one of our not our most viewed video, but the
Mm,
largest amount of watch hours that we've got on the previous Tales of the Smoke. So hopefully, by changing the layout and doing everything else, we're not scuppering ourselves there. But
no.
I think it's a good move. I think it will make the game more immersive for the viewers as well. But we will see. We will see.
So, Dragonlance,
Dragonlance, yeah.
what is it? Because I joined D&D. I mean, I've only ever known the Forgotten Realms as a setting,
Hmm.
and I joined D&D as a player for that. So,
Yeah.
Dragonlance wasn't really a thing, I would say.
Yeah,
So,
I think Dragonlance for me was, or certainly for Dungeons and Dragons role playing was kind of a big change. Um, I might be remembering things slightly wrong here, but I'm fairly certain this is true. Um, there was the UK market, which had White Dwarf, and a lot of the writers, the UK writers, uh, basically created coherent dungeons and worlds and settings, and they they kind of made sense when you had a hook and a plot other than there's a dungeon, go and slay the monster. There is a powerful magic item, go fetch powerful magic item. Um, that's a lot of those were coming out of the US as kind of standard dungeons, and as a kid I lapped them up. They were good fun. I didn't really care that they made no sense that there was some kind of aberration that was sharing a lair with a red dragon or whatever.
yeah.
uh, and there was no reasoning for it. There was even in the text a lot of the time it was just, yeah, that section of the dungeon is occupied by so and so, this section is occupied by so and so as well. And then came along Dragonlance. And Dragonlance was one of these, you can't really call it, I suppose you can call it a multimedia event, but it wasn't designed to be, I don't think. I don't
Hmm.
think that ultimately was the concept when it first came out. Um, uh, but there was the series of books, there was the modules, and I think there were some computer games as well that all came out as popularity sort of grew. And I think certainly for Dungeons and Dragons, it was the first kind of narrative type game that I came across. Um, Obviously, I'd played by this point Call of Cthulhu, which is a narrative style of game, but very different to sort of Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, thank you very much. I think we might have got a sub there. I heard a, a jingle dangle in my ear. Whoever did that, thank you very much. I can't actually see who did that. Oh, it was Nicholas. Thank you very much, Nicholas. It's just come up on my channel. Really appreciate the sub. Um, you might be watching live, or you might have just done it off the back of one of the other videos, but we appreciate the subscription. So, so I've got a great love of Dragonlance for that reason. I mean, I know that you are not a Critical Role fan.
Nope.
But I'm sure that you appreciate the fact that Critical Role is perceived as a very narrative-based role play.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and imagine having lots and lots of just dungeon crawls and battles as a player, and then suddenly discovering something like
Yeah.
critical. What we
Yeah.
can actually have our characters and we can role play, and that was Dragonlance for me. Um,
Hmm.
I'd had some experience before, but it was quite difficult to get that across to many players and all of that kind of thing. And Dragonlance helped that happen. Um, First and foremost, there was the novels, but what was also really nice about Dragonlance is the party. The party had very, very great dynamics. There was nice characterizations, but the twins, for instance, Rastalin was slowly but surely being consumed for his desire for magic and leaning into the dark side. And there was Tasselhoff, who uh, Tasselhoff comes in for a large amount of criticism. That is because many players have gone, oh, I want to play Tasselhoff. Tasselhoff is a
Ah, right.
Kender. A Kender is kind of Kryn's, that's the game world of
Okay.
Dragonlance's halfling race.
Right. Yes.
Um, but Kenders like to borrow things, and
Mm.
reading it as a novel, it's endearing, and he's not malicious. He just borrows things, and it's, oh, where's that gone? I bet Tass has got it. Tass, where is it? Shake him upside down. There it is.
Yep.
It works in that kind of narrative form. But when you've got a player that goes, well, I'm like Tasseloff, and I'm just going to steal from all the players all of their wealth and
Yeah.
all of their magic
Yeah.
items, and yeah, I'm just playing the character. It's just like Tasseloff. It's like, no, 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 no. And Tasselhoff could be. Tasselhoff was kind of an innocent, so naive and all of that, and for narrative reasons, did things that perhaps didn't help the party, but worked in a story way in the novels.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, but can easily be translated into a disruptive player mode. Um,
Yes.
I
My
mean,
guy syndrome.
yeah,
That's what my guy would do
yeah. These
to the
days,
to the destruction of others. I mean.
yeah, yeah, yeah. These days, it's not so much of a problem
Mm.
because, to be perfectly honest, um, the people have got good role models. And again, I'm going to lean
Mm.
into Critical Role as an example of a fantastic group of players that that can try and disrupt what other people are doing, but in a fun, social way.
You
That they,
have to be friends
yeah,
to
yeah,
do it. You have to know each other and trust each other to do
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, and you know that it's not malicious, and it's very well balanced and not scripted, but you know
Mm.
that they're doing it, but they don't expect to get away with it.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, sort of PV, player versus player stuff was terrible,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this was just an excuse to be able to take it to another level. Um, Sorry,
Mm.
lots of digression there.
No. So
Uh,
with Dragonlance, I know Wizards. Well, I know there's a new book out for
yeah,
Dragonlance, isn't there? So I mean, has that moved the setting on? Is it a rehash of the traditional one? What is it?
To be honest, I've not read the latest book,
Well,
because I
you
didn't
know
want
it.
to. Well,
No.
they have moved it on, I believe, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of merchandising about it. But what I want to bring to the campaign that I'm running is my joy of what I felt for the very first time of
Okay.
doing this, and it will be fifth edition. We use fifth edition rules, but I kind of believe that a lot of fifth edition product is kind of tailored now to a certain kind of taste. And what I want to do is bring the old school feel of finding out about this world, this Kryn, for the first time,
Right.
um, rather than kind of run the preset campaign that they've
Yeah.
written out.
Yeah.
So it'll be basically, it will be Dragonlance, it will be fifth
Hmm.
edition, it will be set in Kryn, but it will be homebrew story rather
Yes.
than that. And I really want to take the characters on a journey, very much like those original characters in the modules and in the books. Something that starts off small. It's very, very Tolkien-esque, not in
Yeah.
flavour, but in that story arc of everything starts small, and
Yeah.
then they get involved in something that is, the War of the Lance,
Yeah.
basically.
Okay.
Uh,
Is that like the ongoing thread? Because like I would say in the Forgotten Realms, I mean, with when they got to fourth edition, they did start with like spell plague and all that
yeah,
nonsense,
yeah.
which is why I've never moved past the third edition book of the Forgotten Realms. I have it on my shelf behind me. It still has the map with it. I love that book because it's just a list of places, deities, and things like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, is the War of Lance, is that sort of an ongoing thread throughout the books, or
Yeah,
what is it?
kind of. I mean, dragon lances are these legendary artifacts that, I mean, very much do what they say. They are lances that are used whilst riding a dragon,
Right.
but they are magical, and they're used to joust against other dragons. Um, Obviously, this was back in the day, so they had that standard concept that there were metallic dragons and there were chromatic dragons, and
Yeah.
the chromatic dragons were evil, and the metallic dragons are good aligned. I won't be leaning into that much, but the storyline is that dragon eggs were being stolen to
Mm.
mutate into draconians, which were the foot soldiers of various levels that were brought into this war, basically. Um, and also, the original Dragonlance, the gods were lost as well. So it was like a
Oh,
refinding. Clerics didn't have any power at the start, and it was very
okay.
much a case of uncovering that power and
I
finding
like that.
these discs to find divinity again, really. So it was like from a very small start of your first level event, not even a venturing company, but a group of misfits that have come together,
Yeah.
to this epic tale that unfolds. And it definitely felt epic playing the sort of storyline and the campaign,
Mm.
with a lot. And what was cool back in the day was kind of seeing the books and seeing how the characters in the books did things, as you were
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
doing similar things to it, which I just loved so much.
Mm.
Supposedly, there's going to be a TV series of Dragonlance as well.
I've heard that too. I
Yeah,
have heard that too.
um,
So with Dragonlance or Dragonlance,
yeah.
Lance, I'm Southern. Um, so with the Forgotten Realms,
Hmm.
you know, people do set adventures in other places, but pretty much you always end up on the Sword Coast. And at some point, if you run the Forgotten Realms, you are either going to run either Baldur's Gate, Waterdeep, Neverwinter, Icewind Dale. You're going to go to one of those places.
Yeah,
And for a lot of early DMs like myself, you are tempted to throw in some of the characters from the age. So, first question is, where is that place? Where is that place where you think this is to be Dragonlance, to really make sure you are quintessentially Dragonlance? What's that place you go to? What's that thing? What's that character? What's the thing you as Andy would put in there to make sure people know, yes, this is Dragonlance?
yeah. That's a great question, and quite simply, obviously, dragons and draconians as that. I mean, they are instrumental to it, and the political sort of ins and outs. But there's also the towers of sorcery. There are kind of three types of mage: the red, the black, and I think it's white. It might be grey. Um, and there's kind of indicating, again, it's been changed somewhat, but alignments of magic, or rather the eclipses of the moons of Kryn. It's where the lunar magics have sort of come in. but I'm going to get the book. Don't get me wrong, because I kind of want to see what they've done for the rule set, and there might be some character options or ancestries or species, whatever 5e wizards are calling them these days, um, that some of the players might want to play. So absolutely, um, but it's most definitely going to be Dragonlance. I don't really want to give huge amounts of spoilers, but what I've got in
No,
mind
no.
is all of those iconic things. It needs dragons, it needs Dragonlances, it needs this war to be happening. Either the war hasn't happened yet or it's about to, that kind of thing, really. Um, so there will be that iconic feel, but what I really want to tell here, regardless of it being Dragonlance, is that story of starting from very small beginnings
Yeah.
and being put into a situation, or doing that epic quest line, rather than it being a disjointed set of one shots. I kind of want this to be an epic tale that unfolds with the players and their characters right at the heart of it all.
Yeah.
Um, and I've got a few ideas. I kind of want them all to have agendas. So basically, bit from Icewind Dale, which everybody has a starting secret, because that leans very much into the narrative as well.
Which
Uh,
Icewind Dale? Sorry,
Sorry, fifth edition, the
Rime with the Frost
Rime
Maiden?
with the
No.
Frost Maiden.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
um,
I haven't read many of the
yeah,
adventures
yeah. It's
because
very, very good.
I don't.
But they've got some most excellent sort of little ideas in there
Mm.
as well, that everybody starts off with
You would, wouldn't you?
a backstory background.
Yeah, especially for Icewind Dale. I mean, I guess this is probably leading to my next question, which is I loved the very first time I got to run. I got my players into Icewind Dale. I loved it
Yeah.
because I'd always wanted to do a bit of a campaign in Icewind Dale, and I guess this might not be something for Dragonlance, or whether or not you'd want to reveal it now. But is there somewhere you think, oh, I'd really like it? For me as a DM, I'd really like it if they got here and did this in the future, or just
Um,
just a place.
there are, I can't really say without giving
Oh,
spoilers
okay.
out.
Nope, that's fine. That's
Um,
fine. That's
uh,
understandable.
uh, Ansalon, which is the continent, Kryn is the game world. Um, is quite a varied place. There are
Mm.
some. Again, it was kind of one of the first sort of settings that, for instance, introduced like Minotaurs, but as a race, as
Yeah.
an ancestry, and yeah, there's a kind of a race of Minotaurs which are very, very cool, and there's a lot to be done with it. It's going to be a pleasure if we can get enough players for it. Most definitely, sort of want to run it.
So I guess that opens the question to so when are you running it? How many
Well,
slots are there?
yeah, yeah. I'm kind of looking doing this Sunday night. It's going to be the 7 to 10 slot. It might be a mini campaign, so I kind of want to run it weekly, like we do with our Eberron game,
Yeah.
um, and kind of almost do a prologue is wrong, but a sort of first to third level taster of you know. Um, Maybe a month, 4 sessions, something like that, to see whether people really like this, and if they do, we might expand it into the epic sort of quest line. So there's not a huge commitment if you want to give it a go. Um, so yeah, really. I've ran the previous modules, the original modules, quite a few times when they came out. Um, so I can still remember the fun that we had when we ran them. So I'm very much looking forward to this. And if you like, and I know I keep harking back to Critical Role, but a Critical Role style experience, if you like the game books that have been produced, Call of the Netherdeep, and the sort of Tal'Dori book. If you like my critical role games and the way that characters interact, this is really going to be pushing in that direction with a completely different flavour. I mean, if you look at the imagery here now,
It's
this
high
is
fantasy, isn't it? It's
yeah,
really traditional. Well, I wouldn't say it's Tolkien-esque. I mean, the because I've got YouTube up on that screen. It's almost kind of, if you were to stick dragons and elves and things into almost like a Robert Howard
yeah,
style kind of world. At least that's what the image is kind of conjuring up for me whenever I've
yeah,
seen the images on books in bookshops and stuff.
yeah. It is high fantasy. I mean,
Mm.
it was Dungeons and Dragons. There are dragons. There are
Yeah,
battling on the back of dragons with lances. It is about the return of the gods, and it has got towers of high sorcery. It's not Tolkien-esque in terms of flavour. It's Tolkien-esque in terms of that journey, that starting off of, a hobbit that has got this item, and suddenly they need to go to this very dangerous place to do this
mm.
thing. Otherwise, really bad things are going to happen, and it's that scale of an epic story unfolding. And as you can tell, sort of the the character with the bow at the front, Tanis, he's a half elf, I believe, but he's got that kind of Strider-esque kind of sort of attitude. It's got a great flavour to it.
Yeah,
Obviously, the characters will be more than welcome to play whatever characters they want, but this is moving away from that steampunk-esque kind of thing
yeah,
that I love, and leaning more into this feathers and furs high fantasy kind
yeah.
of
I like
game.
that. I like a fantasy world that kind of that works, but it's almost like, and I always think of this as like the Forgotten Realms as well, where the elves left, but then the elves came back. But I like to think, if you're an elf living in Waterdeep and you leave, well, you're like, oh, I can't leave, I've got a mortgage, and that's certainly the way I flavor my version of Forgotten Realms. But I like that, where it's a world where there's a lot more crossover of people. It's not Tolkien-esque in that
Yeah,
there's the elves that live in the forest and the humans live here and things. There are places where people intermingle, and these metropolises where everything comes together. And then there's communities of individual, ancestries and whatever. But I like a really varied setting like that, and I like it to feel like it
yeah,
works. And yeah, I hope that's what comes out of
yeah,
Dragonlance. I
yeah.
mean,
Absolutely, and I shall leave this Lord Soth, who's an iconic character from Dragonlance that supposedly isn't there anymore. Oh, he's going to be there in my game, so I'm very much looking forward to resurrecting him.
very
He's
good,
he's
very good.
there is a piece of artwork. I haven't got it here, but I mean this is a lot of artwork from the Uh,
Ooh,
this is kind of all of the things that I've got from my older stuff,
yeah,
fundamentally featuring sort of
very
dragons
nice.
and
Yeah.
stuff. But there is a classic image, and I need to sort it out. It still sort of sits with me today, and it's a group of undead horsemen sort of coming across a plain. And at the front of it is Lord Soth kind of leading the way, and it's absolutely amazing. I'll need to sort it out and credit the artist because it's very much kind of inspired me um, to love all of this kind of sort of fancy and setting.
So
So
that's going to be the Sunday game, 7 till 10,
7 till 10, yeah,
and there are slots available. So if
yeah,
anyone
yeah.
wants a slot, just message you.
Just message me in Discord. I'm not. I would like to run it. I'm not in any kind of rush to run it. In fact, I've got quite a few other things in the pipeline as well, as you
Ah,
very well know. So if it doesn't fire now, the main reason for kind of doing this is I believe Sunday is St George's Day, and it just seemed
Yes.
to be a fun thing to try and launch. Him being someone that supposedly fought a dragon.
Mm.
Um, but if there is enough interest, I'll be talking to people. Um, we will do it this Sunday. If not, there will be plenty of other chances to do it. Um, right, we are getting to that point now. It's about 22 that we need to start getting
Yeah.
ready for our vampire game.
I need to
So
update Fantasy Grounds.
yeah, I need to actually to load it up as well. So thank you very much for staying with us in chat. I hope you found that interesting. If you're not watching in chat and watching on catch up, because we'll post the link tomorrow morning once it's video on demand and you are interested, send me a message in Discord and we will try and sort you out a place on Dragonlance. If you can't make it this Sunday but you're interested in generally, let me know as well, and obviously we'll try and make our schedules align. So for now, it is goodbye and good night for me. Have a good rest of evening, and over to you.
Stay safe and stay hydrated.
Very good. Take care, everybody. Catch you all next time.